Hello friends. Okay, so today I'm going to do a video on concealer. A lot of my clients that I have come to see me for makeup coaching don't use concealer or don't know how to use it. And so I just wanted to do a quick video today on concealer and talk about how to really wear it for those of us that aren't 21 anymore and have these wrinkles here, and a lot of the videos that I have been watching lately on like Instagram TV and things like that are showing these girls wearing like so much concealer under your eye, and I find that when I do that, it settles and looks really bad in person. It might look great on a video, but in real life, it's not real life. So with that said, today I'm going to use this Makeup Forever. It's the Ultra HD. The reason why I really like this is that it's a hydrating one. My under eyes tend to be a lot drier than the rest of my face because I'm oily everywhere else, except for under my eyes is really dry. And I find that this one does a really good job at not settling in the fine lines and staying looking pretty throughout the day. So most concealers will come with like a little doe foot on there, and the problem with using these and just putting it directly on your face is it has a ton of product on it. So when you put it straight onto your face, it's using way too much. So what I like to do is, this is just like a powder lid. I usually just like to scrape a little bit off onto there and use a brush. This is Robert Jones Beauty brush number 53. Great concealer brush. I love it. Kind of is rounded at the top. Well, mine's a little sad because I use it so much. But anyway, when you grab some concealer, you're just gonna grab like a tiny bit. So see how much is still on there, and you can barely see how much I have on my brush. You grab my little mirror here so I can see it close. So what you're gonna do is, under your eye, when you conceal, you only want to conceal where the color is different. So if you can see on mine here, and it's kind of hard to see because I have the light up so bright. Maybe I can turn that down. That's too much. Let's see if I'm smart. Kind of. There we go. Okay, so you can see here, I have this line here, and then the color is different right here. It's not different over here. This is the same color as my skin. So it's only right here that I want to conceal. If you conceal the whole thing, it defeats the purpose. You only want to conceal where the color differs from your regular skin tone. So I'm gonna take where I dipped and follow that line here. And when you do concealer, if you do a patting motion, it'll put more in that space, whereas a wipe will pull it across. So patting will get you your best bang for your buck. So you can already see the difference between the two sides. I'm gonna do just a little bit more right here, right in that tear trough. I'm gonna make sure you get that tear trough really well because it'll visually highlight it and pull it forward visually. So big difference already between the two sides. Let me just double check this in my little mirror because I'm using the phone as my mirror right now. And another thing people always ask is, what do you do about the discoloration that's right here? Right there in that little part of your nose, kind of your eye meets your nose area. That's always kind of like a different color. Like I've seen like blues and greens and purples. So you kind of just want to put a little concealer in there and then pat it. You do a patting motion with your finger, and what that does is it gets rid of any harsh lines. If you wipe it, it'll move. So remember to pat it to blend it. So I'll quickly do the other side. So right there in that tear trough, in that corner of the eye there. Better. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I had foundation on first before we started with this. The next step I do is with concealer is my eyelids. The reason why you want to do your eyelids, if you can see mine, they kind of like have a little bit of a tint to them. They're not the same color as my skin. And the problem with that is when you go and put eyeshadow on, any color or tint that you have on your eyelids will influence your eyeshadow color that you're going to be putting on. And so it's not always as great. So I'm gonna put, and I have foundation on, a little bit of foundation on my eyelids as well, so I don't know you have to use as much concealer. But I'm gonna do the whole eyelid so you can see the difference between the sides, how that just totally neutralized that color, so that when I go to put that eyeshadow on, it looks, the color and the pigment is that much better. So that's a really important trick. Now the side, and I'm using my finger just because for me it's faster than using like a tiny brush. That's kind of personal preference. And I'm just using a little bit, guys, not like a ton. Like, seriously, like, see how much concealer I still have left on this thing. I'm like just using this little smudge area at the bottom. All right, let's talk about blemishes. So I saved this one for you guys. So to conceal that, a couple tricks to concealing blemishes. First trick is if it has any like dead skin on it, it's not going to conceal. All it's going to do is the concealer is going to stick to the dead skin, and it's going to look even worse than when you started. So I'll kind of take like a little bit of tweezers and tweeze the dead skin around it very softly. You don't want it to start bleeding, just a little bit. And then take a little bit of the concealer and put it directly on the spot. So let me make sure I got that. Directly on the spot, okay? And you can see it there. So then you're just gonna take your ring finger here and just pat softly over the top of it. And what that does is keeps the concealer in that same spot and doesn't move it anywhere else, but it blurs it out. One more of those. The end. It's gone. Do I have one more over here? Oh yeah, I have a little leftover one here. Same thing over the spot. And this works for any kind of age spots, any kind of spot you want to cover. Directly over the spot where the color is different, so whether it's red or brown or whatever, only where the color is different, and then pat over the top of it to blend it in with your skin. Now you can put a couple coats on it if the concealer you have is not doing the job. So just remember, the more product you put on there, the more you're going to be able to see it. Concealer's a very drying product, and it's sticky on your skin. That's the purpose of it. It's doing its job, but if you use too much, then it's like yucky. Okay, so yeah, I usually do a little bit right here because I have some spots that are coming in that I don't like, and a little spot there. One other thing about your eyes is some people do get a little bit of redness right here. So you can put a little bit of concealer right there and then directly under the eyelash line. That's another spot that I see people get redness. So you just put a little bit and then pat it to blur out any harsh lines. You guys, that's Concealer 101. Super easy, quick. I know it took forever, but in normal life, it's super quick. Just make sure you guys don't put it a ton, especially here where your wrinkles are. You don't want any kind of concealer or makeup you put in there. The more you put, the more it'll settle. One last thing about any kind of concealer or makeup that you put on your face, you want to make sure you powder off after. If you don't powder off, like your eyelids. Mine might be creasy. I see mine's creasing already. So you want to make sure you powder off everything. That'll make it stay throughout the day longer. So very quickly, I will just powder off. I'm using a loose powder, so it'll help absorb my oily skin, my oils on my skin throughout the day. Anywhere you conceal, you want to make sure you do a patting motion. And lately, under my eyes, I've been using a smaller brush so that I can just really get in there good. And again, I'm patting it so we don't move that concealer at all where we placed it. I want to make sure that's really powdered so it doesn't crease, which will help prevent creasing of your eyeshadow as well. Okay, concealer 101, you guys. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.